What is up, T.O.Gs? We're out here, just enjoying the crap out of a winter day of riding. And, you know, it's something that I feel lucky to be able to do here in Northern California, is to pretty much be able to ride year round. You know, there are some months where it rains a lot, but it doesn't rain for like months at a time like it does, I know, like in more Northern California, like near Redding, and the further you go north, you know, once you get into Portland and definitely in Washington near the Seattle area, it's definitely rains just a ton. So even though the weather doesn't get super cold, it's riding season is shorter. You know, I've had the Super Duke here for 3 years now, and man, I just love this bike. I've done a short-term and then a longer-term review of the Super Duke. I'll have a link up here on the screen for you to the most recent one besides this one. This one's going to be less of a comprehensive review of this motorcycle and more of just what to expect when you own or buy a Super Duke 1290. Now, obviously, there are going to be some differences between this model and then the models where you've got a full digital display with some color in there. But the riding experience, because I have ridden the newer model, the newest model I've ridden is the 2021 Super Duke R. And the riding the Super Duke R in the later years, it wasn't altogether that different from riding my 2015. Obviously, the display is going to be nicer, but the riding position hasn't changed all that much compared to the newer models, compared to this one here. And just obviously, you know, when you ride a newer bike, there's going to be things about it that are going to feel different because it's a new bike. But as far as like throttle response, you know, friction zone for your clutch, that's pretty adjustable as well anyway. And then ride modes, all of these things are going to be available on the newer models. So this is going to be applicable to, I would say, pretty much any Super Duke that you can buy. So if you're somebody who is thinking, oh, you know, maybe I should just get an 890 or an older 790 Duke instead of the bigger 1290, what I will say is, you know, I'm not going to say that you would get tired of a 790 or an 890, but if you ever felt like, oh, I want to graduate, or maybe I want to take the bike out to the track and I want something a little bit faster, a little bit more horsepower, a little bit more torque, obviously, unless you're like a professional racer, motorcycle track rider, you know, the 790 and the 890 is gonna be enough. You're just never gonna get everything out of that bike that it can give you. But to me, it was more about the style, the design of the 1290 as opposed to the 790 that I went with this bike instead of a smaller one. It had a lot to do with the style, because to me, the 1290 is this, especially this version of the 1290 Super Duke R, is just, it was the best looking bike that was within my price range. And I would argue that price range or not, this was just the best looking bike. It was the best looking. It also fit me really well. You know, the seat height, as far as seat height goes, I'm 5'6", and my inseam is between 29 and 30 inches. And I do have to tiptoe to reach this bike, but you can make adjustments in the suspension to get closer to the ground. But I haven't had any issue with just the stock setup of the suspension on this bike, and the height of it has not been a problem. You know, weight, we're talking in the mid 400s as far as the weight goes, and the weight hasn't been an issue either. And there just hasn't been anything that I like about this bike that I don't like about this bike. And there hasn't ever been a time where I'm like, you know, it's trust me, I have gotten tired of motorcycles before. This is this was my 5th motorcycle, and I have my 6th motorcycle is in my garage. It's an old Sportster, and I bought that because more for sentimental value and just to have another bike. for a different experience. It's a cruiser, it's a Sportster 1200 Roadster. And so anyway, back to the Super Duke. You know, when you buy a Super Duke, unless you are somebody who's like constantly buying new motorcycles, which I know there are those of you out there, I just can't see when it comes time maybe to buy a different bike or another bike, getting rid of this bike. I've had it for 3 years now, and I haven't tired of the way it looks. I haven't tired of the way it feels, makes me feel when I ride it. And again, it's because this is just got a buttload of horsepower and torque. You know, I will never get everything out of this bike that it can give me. Now, for those of you who are maybe thinking of the 890 or the 790 because you feel like the 1290 is going to be too much for you, that's where I would say, you know, give the 1290 a chance. Because even though it does offer a ton of power, and it might seem overwhelming, there are ride modes on the Super Duke, and as far as like rain mode goes, it's really going to dial down that power delivery for you, and it's not going to feel super overwhelming despite how much this bike can give you. And then when the time is right or you're ready, slap this thing into street mode and then in sport mode, and just, you know, and hold on to your butts, because you're gonna really enjoy the heck out of street and sport mode if you are starting out in rain mode. Maintenance for this 1290 Super Duke is really straightforward. The manual is really super clear if you're going to do your own maintenance, and you know, you can find a KTM dealer to do maintenance, regular maintenance, or you know, if something goes wrong. But I've had this bike for 3 years, and knock on wood, I haven't had any mechanical problems with this bike. And the maintenance is so straightforward. Not only are the instructions in the owner's manual really super clear with illustrations, and you know, it's a PDF format, so you can search things really easily to find them. You don't have to be thumbing through a paper manual to find the things that you need. It's really easy, really straightforward, easy to find because it's an electronic format. And not only that, because this bike is fairly popular. It's relatively popular. For a bike that you don't see a whole ton of these out here on the road. Even though you don't see them, there are videos out there for help, and I've got a couple videos up for chain maintenance and oil changes that if you are thinking about a 1290 or if you just bought one, hopefully you find those videos helpful, and I'll have links right here for you to go check those out. But yeah, maintenance is straightforward, super easy. Everything is really accessible on the bike, because you know, when you talk about sport bikes, you might be talking about bikes with fairings on them. This bike is a sport naked, and so there's no fairings to contend with when you're doing your maintenance. And speaking to those people who are considering a 1290, because even though they are relatively popular, I just don't see a whole ton of them on the road. And so if you're the kind of person who wants something unique and something that stands out amongst all the other sport naked bikes, I know the Street Triple is a really popular sport naked. You know, FZ09, MT09, MT10, those bikes as well are popular, and I see those more frequently on the road than I do the Super Duke. I love the fact that you don't see a whole ton of these out there, but at the same time, it's not some obscure bike that's going to be hard to find parts for or find a dealer to do maintenance. It's not that kind of bike, and so that's something really great about owning a Super Duke, and something that you want to know going into considering or purchasing one. The only thing I would caution here when I'm talking about owning a 1290 Super Duke is self-control. Now, if you're somebody who lacks self-control, you're looking at a 1290 maybe to graduate from something like a 600cc, like maybe like a Street Triple that's in the mid 700cc range, and is kind of like it's a bike that has some pretty good power, and is on the faster end of those kinds of bikes. You know, maybe the R7 or an R3, and you're looking to graduate. If you find yourself getting into trouble on those smaller bikes, maybe the 1290 is something that's going to be a little too much for you. This thing is, even for somebody like me who rides pretty conservatively, that front wheel just wants to come off the ground. Now, this bike obviously comes with some excellent traction control, cornering ABS, all those good things to keep you safe, but those things can be toggled off, and if you lack the self-control to keep yourself safe, this, I would just caution you when deciding whether or not you want to go with the 1290 Super Duke. Now, those are the kinds of things that excite you. You do have some self-control, or you are a very skilled rider. By all means, check out the 1290, make it your own, and just freaking grip it and rip it. But you know, all the way around, I could not be more happy owning this motorcycle. You know, like I said, I've had 5 other bikes other than this one, and this is hands down easily my favorite motorcycle. I have no doubt that if you were to buy this bike, it would be your favorite bike as well. If you have questions about the 1290 that I didn't answer here, or that you didn't find in my review of the 1290 Super Duke R, make sure you leave those in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. If you found this video helpful, you liked it, make sure you hit that thumbs up down there, which is the like button. And if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button. Guys, if you're out there riding, please be safe. Be kind to one another. My name is Eric. I'm that one guy. And I am out.